Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and today I'm going to make a card featuring the Not Too Shabby Stamp and Die of the Month. It is an option to get the coordinating die with it, so you could just get the stamp alone if you wanted, but I really love that Jamie sends us both the stamp and the die because I am not a huge fan of fussy cutting. And the name of this stamp set is Stand Strong, which I think is really wonderful. There's actually a stamp sentiment with that phrase too. The card that I'm gonna make is I'm gonna try this out. I don't think I've done this sort of look before, but essentially what I'm doing is creating my own background. I've taken one of these gorgeous sunflowers and I've chosen that for my focal image. So that's the one that I put like right in the center there. And then the other ones I'm just going to stamp all the way around and try to fill up the panel, making it look as organic as possible, but trying to really fill it in. Now these are pretty large flowers, so it's going to be hard to really fit them in so that they fill the panel, and it'll help definitely for sure that I'm stamping right off the edge, but because these are large, it is hard to kind of fill in all the gaps. So I'm not really gonna go for that because I think it would be too hard to do. Especially since the one that's just the flower without the stem, it's just almost like an oval, so you can't really get that into these small nooks and crannies that are being created in the negative space. So what I'm gonna do is just try my best. I have decided I don't really care about the orientation, so I'm gonna rotate them every which way, whatever makes it so that I can fill this area up as fulsome as I can. And it's not gonna be perfect, but I think that's totally okay. The look that I'm going for is, well, what I want to do is color the flowers that I stamped around my panel in black, but basically making it look black and white essentially. And then what I will do is for that center sunflower, I want that one to be in full color so that it sort of stands out from the rest. So to do my coloring, this is going to be like really super fast, super easy coloring because I've got this black watercolor pencil and it's really fabulous. This was recommended to me by Delise, who is Stamp Girl here on YouTube, and it's by the company is Stabilo, and it's their Stabilo all. It's actually, it can write on everything. It says paper, glass, plastic, metal. So I think it's one of those sort of pencils that you can even kind of write onto non-porous surfaces. But it's water soluble and it's so pigmented. I'm using the tiniest of watercolor paintbrushes, and I'm coloring with the pencil directly onto my paper. And this is not watercolor paper, so it's not really moving as fluidly as it would if I did stamp this onto watercolor paper, but it still moves very, very well, and that pigment dissolves really easily with not a lot of water. And so that's why this technique actually works okay with just your plain old cardstock, because you don't really need a lot of water to activate that pigment and get it to move. So I know this video is sped up quite a lot, but it really didn't take that much time to color in all of those flowers. It probably took twice as long for me to color this one in because this is going to be the full color sunflower, and I'm stamping it with an alcohol friendly ink. I am using Gina K Amalgam, which is a hybrid ink. It's kind of drying out, I think. I had to stamp this like a good 4 or 5 times, so I feel like I'm going to need another ink pad, but I'll probably just switch over to my Memento ink pad because that would work just as well. And I am gonna do some. I'm trying to be quicker with my alcohol marker coloring, but it still took me quite a lot of time. And really, what I've done is just I pulled out something like 5 or 6 markers that range from yellow to almost orange. And I'm going to, even though each of these individual petals is pretty small, and I'm not trying to get 5 color blends on each of these petals. What I'm trying to do is kind of have a variation of colors in the petals. So some of the petals that are more behind that first layer, I'm coloring those with darker colors so that it kind of feels like they're more in shadow. And then the petals that feel like they're kind of closer to the surface, closer to the top, I am coloring those in a lighter yellow. And then I'll do some quick coloring with for the leaves as well. So I've got a couple, maybe a few shades of green here. I actually did pull out a 4th shade of more of a yellow green. And this is definitely something that you can do with alcohol markers that I really, really like. Because alcohol marker inks are transparent, that means that when you lay a color down, it blends with any color that is beneath it. And that's why you're able to get like these really super smooth blends. But what that also means is that, for example, with my leaves, I picked a line of greens that tinted a little bit more towards the blue. It was like it was very cool toned greens. And I wanted to have more of a yellow green, more of a warm tone green, because the sunflower, I feel like it feels like it's warmer colors. So all I did was I took a very light yellow green, and then I colored everything. I colored over everything. And that had the effect of sort of tinting everything a little bit yellow. And so you can definitely do that if you don't have like just the right shade of whatever color it is you're going for. In this case, going for a green that's a little bit more of a yellow green versus a teal, which is more of a bluey green, then you can do that. You can just kind of layer whatever color you want to tint it with, and that's how you can really expand your color range. So so that's a nice little kind of tip for you to kind of keep in mind if you do like to do alcohol marker coloring. Don't feel like you have to buy 200 markers. You can definitely make do with what you have and create new colors that you may not have markers for. So I've cut one panel in black to the full card base, 4¼ by 5½, and then I trimmed down that stamped panel to 3/16 of an inch smaller on both in both directions. And that just happens to be the matte size that I really like. So it's got a thin but still very perceptible black border all the way around. And I kind of feel like if you wanted to leave it like this, it looks kind of nice just black and white too. So I think that's a look that's something worth playing with. But since I already cut this out, and thanks to the fact that there is the coordinating die which is available, I just used the die to cut it out, and that meant that I could actually lift this up a little bit and have some dimensions so that not only is this going to be in color, but it's going to be further accentuated by the fact that it's going to actually be lifted on the card a little bit. And so that helps to make it stand out a little bit more as well. And otherwise, you could do the same look and have this be more flat by just coloring in your stamped image. Now, that would mean that originally with the panel, I stamped everything in VersaFine, which is great if you're using a water-based medium to color with. So if you're going to do this and you're going to color with alcohol markers, then you'll want to make sure that you're using the right ink to stamp with so that your lines don't bleed. And to even further make this more special and maybe just make it, because it's such a simple card otherwise, so little touches like this might help to make it feel a little bit more, special, is this diamond glaze that I am covering the entire stamped image with. And it does help that this is die cut, for this, because then, the diamond glaze is kind of, it kinda has those edges of the die cut to help kinda keep it from spreading too far out. But I'm gonna set that aside, let it have a little bit of time to dry, and then I'm gonna pick one of the lovely sentiments that does come included in this stamp set. So you've got Stand Strong, Hello Sunshine, Thankful for You, With Sympathy, Loved, and Blessed. So these are really, really lovely sentiments, and some of them are very kind of like more encouragement and very sentimental sentiments. So I love that. And Thankful for You, I just think is really great. I mean, that's going to be useful. I have so many of those pre-stamped out because I feel like I'm going to use that one a lot. But I also really love Stand Strong. That's a really wonderful one too. Actually, all of them are really nice. And I like that they cover the range of, a pretty broad range of occasions, including, I think with sympathy is really good because sunflowers are kind of nice for that, because I feel like, if you're sending a sympathy card, it might be helpful to send something that does feel a little bit bright. It might help to maybe brighten their day a little bit. So I do like it with this set of images. So that's really cool. And I've just simply stamped my sentiment onto white and adhered that to some black cardstock so that I can really make sure that this sentiment is actually nice, and you can, sort of see it against that background because it's all black and white. So having that black border will help it stand out a little bit. And this is going to go right over a portion of my flower. So what I did was I did add some of my low profile foam, the same foam that I added to the back of the flower, I added to the back of the sentiment. All I did was I just skipped over the foam in the middle where the sentiment overlaps with the flower. So there's no foam there. That way everything is nice and level. This hasn't dried 100%, but you can see that the diamond glaze is mostly like clear, because when you squeeze it out, it's a little bit cloudy, but it does, as it's drying, it does dry crystal clear. So really, really fun. I hope that you enjoyed my card today. I'll leave links to everything in the description box below if you want to check anything out for yourself. And until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.